Good afternoon, everyone. That time of year again, hurricane baseball season's here. Obviously, a big weekend opening up in Gainesville with the Gators, and then going right into ACC play the following weekend. It's been quite a year, but really credit uh, obviously our partners at U Health, our coaches, and our student athletes, and whether it's our basketball teams, our other sports teams, and now obviously baseball. It's just great to be able to see them out there on the field. Excited about this year's team, as you all know, a lot of guys coming back in the field and at the plate. And then we have some real promise coming on the mound. And so it should be a fun year. So beyond that, I'm happy to take any questions, and look forward to seeing all of you soon.
Okay, if you have a question, please use the hand raise function, and we'll start with David Wilson from the Herald. David, go ahead.
Hey, Blake. First, Gino said you guys are still kind of formulating a plan for potentially fans at baseball. Do you have an update on that?
Right now, we are in the process of finalizing, our situation. It looks like it'll be a socially distant crowd, probably around 20% capacity is where we're going to end up, but we're still looking for final approval on that. I'm actually going to be meeting with a campus leadership later today. And when we feel it's right for our campus, that at that point, we'll then open that up. But yes, the plan is that we'll have fans at some point. I'm hoping by that opening Friday night versus Virginia Tech.
And I did also want to follow up with just one football question, because there were obviously some staff changes since the last time we've talked to you. Obviously, clearly the way last season ended was not probably how you guys had hoped. With Manny making those changes to the defensive staff, obviously, he's been a guy who in his time here has made a lot of changes. Is that an encouraging sign that you see his willingness to really kind of like self-evaluate? Is there concern with the staff changing shape in some significant ways every offseason? Just how do you kind of square that balance?
Well, I think, as you said, it's the balance. Obviously, as you said, the season didn't end the way we would have liked it to. Overall, again, I think it was a real step forward from the previous year and Manny's first year as head coach. So I don't want to take away from the fact that I felt as a program we took a step forward. He, I think, is as good as any coach at really evaluating what needs to get better and what changes need to take place in order for us to get better. I think he's got already, just in a short window, a track record of showing that he's willing to make changes. And so far, the changes that he's made have really worked out well. Again, when you look at punting and kicking being two of the big issues that he had to fix, the two guys he brought in those areas have really come through well. Very excited about the defensive staff that he's put in place, and look forward to this upcoming spring season, then obviously the fall.
Great. Next, we'll go to David Furones from the Sun Sentinel. David, go ahead.
Hi, Blake. If I could also get a baseball and a football question in. First, with regards to baseball, starting off the season against the top-ranked Florida Gators, usually that's the second week of the season, but just for the excitement level around the program and for the team to get thrown right into it against the Gators. And then my football question, you mentioned Manny Diaz and his moves on the defense. Just your thoughts on him taking on the defensive coordinator duties, your confidence that he can essentially do both, and is that a decision that you give him the freedom to sort of make unilaterally, or are there conversations between the two of you where you give him a stamp of approval, if you will, leading up to that?
Yeah, so I guess first your baseball question, I think, is, as everyone's aware, given COVID, it's not going to be the same baseball schedules it normally would have been. But I think to have a series with the University of Florida is one that is great for college baseball. I think it's great for fans in this state, and obviously it's one that I know our guys and I'm sure their guys look forward to playing. So I'm glad we're able to get that in place, and I'm anxious to turn on the TV and watch our guys play there in Gainesville Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So yeah, it should be a fun baseball season, and great to get it started. On the front with Manny, again, I think the thing I would say is, he'll be calling the defense. Again, I think there'll be a lot of defensive coordinator type support from the staff that he has surrounded himself with. And so We did talk about the balance of being a head coach versus being a coordinator. Good, open conversation back and forth. Manny feels very confident in what his role will be, and really in the support that he'll receive from the staff that's around him to have us ready to go on game day, whether that be a Thursday or I guess Saturdays this year. And so, yes, we had a lot of conversations about one, first, what his thoughts were after the season was over on what we need to look at doing differently and how we would do that, and who would help him in doing that. And I don't think I would call it a stamp of approval. I would call it good open dialogue in understanding what our expectations are of our football program. And there's not a person who understands that more clearly than Manny. And I'm excited we can continue to support him, and that we've been able to make the changes we've had. And I'm confident these will equate to even greater success in the future.
Thank you. And if I could also, just because you mentioned baseball attendance quickly, do you have any early indications on what fall football attendance could look like at Hard Rock Stadium?
We're still so far out. Again, when you think about it, it's at this point last year, we didn't even realize what impacts of COVID would be. And so to try to guess what it'll look like in September, I don't think is fair. With that said, I'm encouraged of that, with the further distribution of the vaccine and people taking the steps that need to be taken, that, we'll be able to open up in Atlanta with I'm going to hope for a full crowd, and that's the same opportunity that we'll have back here in Miami. But again, just I think it's too early on to make any real predictions as to what that exactly will look like.
Thank you.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go to Isabella Didio from the Miami Hurricane. Isabella, go ahead.
Hi, Blake. I just have two quick questions. The first is, if you do go with the 20% at Margolite Field or whatever it is, will students be allowed? And the second one, you just mentioned vaccinations. I'm wondering if there's a plan in the works for student athletes to receive vaccination.
So there isn't a plan other than I think what the campus's plan is in terms of providing it for all students. Again, I think, that's the reality of the situation. Our student athletes have to be tested like all the students. And I think when the plan comes to roll the vaccination out, we'll have our student athletes, with that opportunity, and hopefully they'll take advantage of it, just as I hope the rest of the student body does. To answer your first question, yes, we'll have an allotment of student tickets. Again, our capacity is going to be significantly lower than what has been historically, and so that number will be smaller than what is historically. But I think if you look at it, most games, it would probably accommodate whatever student needs we'd have in a typical year. And so, I feel good that we're going to be able to put that in place for the students for this year. Their presence at our games is an important part of, I think, the collegiate experience for our guys. And so it's good to have the students out there. And that was something we wanted to make sure we had in place if we were going to be able to have tickets, which again, it looks like we will. And when we do get that approval, we will have a student component to it.
Thank you.
And we'll wrap up with a question from Chris Stock. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Blake, the men's basketball program could have their third straight losing season. And I know they've been dealing with things, but is there concern, and there could be players leaving after the season, seniors, and moving on. Are you concerned about the direction of that program?
I wouldn't say I'm concerned about the direction of the program. Again, as you know, Chris, you followed it real closely. This has been a year unlike any other. I mean, when you take the COVID aspect out of it, which I think is much more wearing on the staff and the players than people realize when you're not doing it day to day. But then you combine in the injuries, and it's been one of those years. So the overall direction, no, I think Coach Larrañaga has shown his ability to lead and his ability to coach. And I don't think there's a person that is a better fit for the University of Miami. And I think Coach L's record shows that. And with that said, there's no one who wants to win more. No one that is any more focused on developing the young men in his program into leaders, not only on the court, but in the community. And so it's something we'll talk about after the season's over. What do we have to, look to do differently? Obviously, the results on the court aren't something that is reflective of where we want our program to be. And so it's something that we'll discuss, but I'm not concerned about the direction of the program at this point. Again, I think when you look at what Coach L has done in his time here, he's really shown he can take us to some of the most success that we've experienced as a program.
We had one more late hand raise from Barry Jackson. So Barry, if you've got a question for Blake, we'll wrap up with you.
Hi, Blake. Sorry to ask you a football question, but there was a little breaking news with a couple of national sites reporting that Travis Williams is leaving a month after his hiring to join UCF and work with Gus Malzahn, who he has a history with. I was going to ask you, have you been informed by Manny or by Travis Williams that he's leaving? And also, does it bug you at all that a coach would leave after just a few weeks? I know it happened with Cristobal many years ago after 6 weeks, and things happen in life, obviously, but does this type of thing annoy you?
Well, I think, Barry, again, I don't know of anything being official yet. Obviously, I've heard the speculation that Travis will have an opportunity to become defensive coordinator and work with Coach Malzahn at Central Florida. And so, when you look at it from that perspective, it's an opportunity for him to better improve his situation. As you know, that's not his role here with us. I think anytime someone leaves, you're disappointed. The timing, though, it's honestly it's part of the industry that we live in, and so I think you'd be hypocritical to question in one case, but be fine with it when it benefits you in others. And so again, I accept it's part of the industry. Obviously, hate to lose people that are great coaches or great parts of our staff. Unfortunately, I haven't even had a chance to meet Travis yet in person, given the whole COVID situation and our lack of ability to really interact within the department. So if the rumors are in fact true that he's going to become defensive coordinator at Central Florida, it's something that will disappointed. I would understand and obviously be supportive of him, as I would with any of our staff that have an opportunity to improve their position in life and do what's best for them and their family.